Hello, everyone. I'm spiritualist, psychic, medium, and astrologer Sette. Thank you once again for sitting with me and offering me the opportunity to share with you my insights, astrologically and spiritually, for the coming month of August 2016. We are so very quickly moving through this pivotal and unprecedented year. And certainly, so many of us are becoming very caught up in what's going on in the world right now. And yes, rightly so. However, I encourage everyone to, as much as you can, try to detach yourself just a little bit if you can from what's going on in the world. Because many times, certainly, what's presented to us isn't necessarily reality. In the Course in Miracles, we are taught that really everything is an illusion. In this physical world, in this realm of consciousness, all things are illusions. And really everything in this world is relative based upon our own personal perceptions. So I suggest and encourage everyone to really understand and reflect on what's inside your heart and what is true for you. Know what is true for you, and certainly live that knowing from a place of love, not from a place of ego, and certainly not from a place of self-righteousness. And I highlight those two elements because on August 2nd, we have our next new moon, and it is in the sign of Leo. At the lower vibrational demonstration, Leo can connect very much so with the ego and self-righteousness. At the higher, more spiritual level, Leo connects with creativity and divinity. And many of you may have heard me say in the past that when we express ourselves creatively, we connect with divinity. And when we connect with divinity, we express ourselves creatively. Every one of us has this potential to certainly be very much a creative spiritual being, because that essence, that power, that God power, which really whatever it is for us personally, that deity, that element is very much encoded in every one of us. And when I refer to God, for lack of a better word, it has nothing to do with how we are taught about God regarding traditional religion. This is a higher metaphysical spiritual understanding of that being which created all things. As I understand it more accurately, we could describe that essence, that entity, as love, pure love. Also, the element of love also connects with the sign of Leo. And certainly, whenever we are very much so in a place of peaceful love, that creative essence, that creative part of us expresses itself very, very naturally. So I'm encouraging everyone to recognize your own creative potential with whatever that might be. Many times, when we hear or refer to the term creativity, we think of those who are artistic or musically inclined. However, creativity is endless. Creativity can express itself in so many ways, through cooking, even in the ways that we teach our children. There's very much a creative essence in all of these expressions, and I encourage everyone, recognize your own creative potential. Because when we allow ourselves to really understand what that creative potential is for us personally, we can potentially very much connect to whatever might be our purpose and our destiny. And so many individuals in these last few years have been given this opportunity to truly recognize their purpose and their destiny. So at this coming new moon on August 2nd, which takes place exactly at 4:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time here in the United States, recognize your own creative potential and recognize how you can tap into that and express that creative potential. The planet Neptune is making somewhat of a tricky aspect to the new moon. And whenever Neptune plays a part in an astrological equation, especially if it's somewhat of a tricky alignment, we have to be very careful that we approach it with somewhat of a sense of caution, because Neptune can be very misleading. However, Neptune is the planet of the psychic faculties, and as it's moving through Pisces, and it's going to continue moving through Pisces for quite a few more years, it's allowing humanity to really recognize its own connection to spirit and the spiritual realm and these psychic faculties that are very much part of all our experiences. And you know, that alignment with Neptune, it allows us to really connect very clearly when we are grounded and when we allow ourselves to be very clear. That connection to spirit will also be very clear. But first, we have to make sure that our own being, that our vessel is very clear so that we can knowingly and certainly receive those inspirations and tap into that higher level of creativity and express it in a way that is productive and creative. With that placement of Neptune to the Sun and Moon in the sign of Leo, we need to be very careful that we don't allow ourselves to be consumed and caught up by the ego as well as self-righteousness, because then certainly we are not necessarily expressing ourselves in a very creative, divine-like manner. So I encourage everyone to recognize how you can express your creativity not only at this new moon, but as we continue to do so throughout these coming times, certainly for your own self-expression, but also too for the betterment of humanity. Because whenever we connect with our purpose, certainly that isn't just for us personally. It does create a very positive vibration in the outer world. There's a couple of other dates that I want to highlight that are not necessarily lunations. On August 8th, we have what's called the Lion's Gate portal. And I won't elaborate too much on it right now. I encourage you to maybe, if you have a sense of curiosity about it, to maybe just do a Google search, maybe see some videos on it on YouTube. On YouTube. But I'll share with you and express my understanding of the potential of that energy. On August 8th at sunrise, this star Sirius rises with our sun. So on that day, it is as if two suns are rising over the horizon. With that date, I would like to add August 7th and August 9th. So on August 7th, August 8th, and on August 9th, at the moment of sunrise, and you can look up whatever that time is specifically, wherever it is that you are located. At that moment, I would suggest allow yourself to be in a place of meditation and use that portal of energy that is opening up so that you can receive divine inspiration as well as the element of self-empowerment, which is something that I've been speaking about for these last few months. And as I've indicated, humanity, especially here in the United States, we are at a time to embrace our own personal self-empowerment. And when I refer to this power, it is not intended for us to inflict our power over others. It is intended for us to use that energy to very much create all it is that we desire. Now, at that moment of sunrise, on those 3 days, August 7th, 8th, and 9th, with the sun rising as well as the star Sirius rising, Pluto will be forming a very powerful aspect to our sun, facilitating this encoding, if that's a word, this encoding of this element of self-empowerment in all of us. And certainly we can use that self-empowerment to connect with divinity and then use it to express our creativity. So on those 3 days, if you have the opportunity to do that at sunrise, allow yourself to just be in a place of meditation and just ask to receive. The request can be just as simple as that. Just ask to receive these higher levels of consciousness and creativity, these higher levels of creativity that come from our higher self. Our next full moon is on August, hold on a second here, August 18th is our next full moon, and it is in the sign of Aquarius. Certainly we all hear of the age of Aquarius. We're not quite there yet, and when we when we can see what's going on in the world right now, it certainly doesn't indicate that we've really gotten there just yet. We're getting there. We're getting very, very close. Many of us are in a time we're experiencing our own personal ascension process, and I would encourage you to recognize that for yourself with whatever that might be for you personally. The sign of Aquarius connects us with the humanitarian, our humanitarian efforts, this raising of consciousness towards higher understandings, higher levels of consciousness. Many times the sign of Aquarius is connected to upheavals and revolutions and chaos and unsettlement. That's the lower vibration of that sign of Aquarius, and many times what happens is that chaos, those crises, those imbalances, even though as unsettling as they may seem, it does stir up energy so that we can perhaps allow ourselves to just be in that place of love, and to certainly to not judge others and to not judge the actions of others. Because in order for us to truly make a humanitarian difference in our world, we have to do it for ourselves personally. This sign of Aquarius, this full moon, is encouraging all of us to become responsible for our own paths, our own households, our own well-being, to another extreme, if you want to call it so, our own salvation in whatever way that might be for you. I would see salvation as the dissolve of the ego. Just as the sign Leo connects very much with the ego, the sign Aquarius will dissolve that ego because it's a polarity. Leo and Aquarius are polarities in the zodiac. And that sign of Aquarius will offer us the opportunity to dissolve the ego. However, many times before that does happen, we are shaken up a little bit. Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus. And Uranus is, I refer to Uranus as the Great Awakener. And many times, I'll use this analogy, many times when someone's in a very deep sleep, sometimes in order for you to awaken them, you need to kind of shake them up a little bit. Uranus and Aquarius will do just that to humanity. Many times it will shake up humanity to wake up humanity. So certainly throughout these few weeks we could see upheavals and continued unsettlement of the world. It doesn't have to happen. As long as we allow ourselves to remain in that place of love. It's kind of interesting that the sign Leo, in the physical body, Leo connects with the heart, and the sign Aquarius rules and connects with the circulation of the blood that is pumped by the heart. So look at it this way: when we connect with love, pure love, and we allow ourselves to be in that place of love, we circulate that love throughout all of humanity. So I encourage everyone, as much as you can allow yourself, as we go through these coming times, allow yourselves to certainly be in that place of love. I always suggest stay in the light and always in the place of love, now more so than ever, since we are coming upon a time of a new moon, connecting very much with that element of love, as well as creativity and divinity. Embrace love into your own lives, first and foremost for yourselves, because first the love has to become established within ourselves, and then we radiate that love to all of humanity. It's that Leo Aquarius polarity that I'm talking about here. In the month of September, we will be at yet another PowerPoint, because we have another series of eclipses taking place in September, and at my next video I will certainly share those insights and those inspirations for you to just have something to think about. One of the things that I always suggest is that no one ever has to take my word for anything. No one ever has to believe anything I say. I will share with you through all my knowings and what comes to me from my higher self, with what I see, sense, and feel astrologically and spiritually. I will share it for you, and I encourage everyone, allow yourself to come to your own knowing, and allow yourself in that knowing, stay in a place of love, because that's how we will make a difference in the world, and certainly how we will raise the vibration of the consciousness here in our country. That will certainly has nothing to do with electing a new president. you'll notice that the last thing that I will talk about is who will be the next president of the United States. Because honestly, if we're going to make a difference in our country, we have to do it for ourselves. And this certainly does not connect just with our country. It connects with our world. The sign of Aquarius connects us with everyone in the world and offers us the opportunity to recognize we are all one. Regardless of borders, boundaries, or geographical location, we are all one. And once we recognize that, and once we recognize that what we do to another, we do to ourselves. When we judge another, we really judge ourselves. When we point a finger at another, we point 3 fingers back at ourselves. Stay in the light. Always stay in a place of love. I thank you for sharing this time with me. I will see everyone again very, very soon. Namaste. Heaven bless.